last Friday, so you've had a scrimmage, you've had a few things since then. So give us a little overview of how the progress has gone.
I think we're making steps. I get a little frustrated when we have some soft tissue stuff, 7, 8 guys with hamstring strains or whatever it is. And, it's nothing anybody's done wrong. I guess it just kind of happens, And guys nowadays if you don't work them out, they're not like in the old days where, summer you worked out, you played ball every day. If you weren't working out in the weight room, you were playing basketball, you're active all the time. Our guys were here all summer, and then all of a sudden they go full speed in practice for a little bit, and it's a little bit straining on them. So that part's a little frustrating, but I like the work ethic. We've definitely gotten better every day, and we're going to start on first opponent stuff probably tomorrow for sure.
Those injuries that could carry over into the season?
No, I mean, we've had a couple that, Cam Ball was questionable for the first game, maybe. We're hoping he'll be back. Ryan Ward should be back. He hadn't practiced. I mean, I don't have the list in front of me. Let's see. Young freshman running back, Lawrence Autry, is doing well. He's banged up for a couple weeks, so I don't know if he'll be ready for the first game. He was coming along pretty good. The rest of them, it's kind of hit and miss. So, like I said, nobody wants to get hurt, but it kind of happens. And it's not like our practices are that physical. I mean, we went live for, 100 plays or something on scrimmage, and I was pretty pleased with the intensity there. We're a little live today with the young guys. Then it was soft. I don't know if anybody got a bruise at all today because there wasn't a lot of patty caking going on with the young guys. It was kind of a pillow fight. So neither side won because both sides had pillows, big pillows. So
some of those injury issues, it feels like last year as well, both during camp and later in the season. Has there been any discussion among the staff, coaching staff, the strength staff?
No, see, that would be the first reason why I would not bring anything up, because somebody would ask a question like they're doing something in the strength staff. Like, you don't think we do everything possible, our strength staff doesn't do everything possible to try to prevent that. And that would be the first reason why I would never talk about it again, because somebody would say, well, was there something, you think I'm not looking at anything and everything that we're doing? Our strength house doesn't know what they're doing. You can't help if a guy twists an ankle or sprains a knee, or something happens and he exerts on a hamstring or something like that. We've looked at all that kind of stuff. So, but if you're trying to say if there's a trend from this year and last year, no, because let's see how did our running backs get hurt in the game. One was a knee, one was an ankle, one was a hip. I mean, it was kind of bad luck. I don't think you can point a finger at a strength coach or a trainer or a position coach when somebody tears a knee in a game. I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
I'd say maybe I phrased that a little bit wrong. I don't want to point fingers at the strength staff. I guess the better question to get to the heart of it is there's not much y'all think that can be done differently. It's just poor luck, I guess.
Well, I've done this for 29 years as a head coach. I kind of know exactly how I want the summer workouts to go and how the practice should go. I got a pretty good feel like that. And I've never had injuries. In 29 years, I hadn't had I had 1 year where I had a rash of injuries at certain positions. Like last year, it seemed like it was running backs and quarterbacks. I had one other year where I had quarterbacks, was like to the 5th guy. And then Mike linebackers, I was down to like my 6th Mike linebacker. I think I was at Arizona. And it was like, this will never happen again. Well, it did. And it was just freaky luck. So you got to build depth. And depth is probably harder to build. Kind of crazy sounds. It's harder to build now in the money era, quality depth than ever before, right? Because a lot of guys, want to go and start and get paid more and all that. But I do think we should have better depth this year. I feel better about our depth this year. And we purposely tried to address that because just in case we had bad luck. And again, it was the biggest concern, or not really concern, or the biggest thing we got 8 straight games with no open dates. And this will be the last year that probably will happen because there's going to be, the new calendar, 14-week, and everybody have 2 open dates. So we've got to get more guys ready to play. I don't mean to bust your chops there. I know what you're saying, but yeah, we are. But we are. We did look. I look at everything, make sure like, what are we? I mean, why is this happening?
I think your offensive line is operationally. Is it fair to say that that's one of the strengths of your team this year?
Oh, I don't know. They hadn't played yet. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think, we weren't good on the offensive line last year, but we weren't good anywhere. So, do I expect us to be better? Hell yeah, I expect us to be better. I expect us to be better everywhere. But until we've played, these guys have a lot more snaps. A lot of guys have, there's 6 or 7, 8 guys that have played a lot of college football. So with that experience, I expect us to be a whole lot better. And a couple guys, not just the guys that are returning, but a couple other guys that were transferred in from Jack State have got experience in the offense. And so overall, there's a better feel for what we're doing up front as well. Not just with Coach Trickett coming in, but with the players that we brought in.
Talked about the wide receiver room a little bit. What was the development with Prince like? And also, did recruiting him out of the transfer portal come a little bit from Pat Kirkland to coach his brother?
Yeah, that helped. His Pat coached his brother. He was a great player for him at Charleston. And so we had a relationship with the family and tried to get him before and when he went to USC. But he's been banged up, but he just got cleared. He was one on the flip side, and it was just from the shoulder from the spring. And he just got cleared a couple days ago. So he's been practicing full. And he's a big body, an experienced guy, and Jaden Braze again is an experienced guy. So we're developing that too. John Nider's guy. We get him out of transfer portal. He's going to play, and he's an experienced starter. Some of the young guys that we're pushing to get better, like Teron Francis, has had his best couple practices in the last couple practices. And, he needed it. We kind of challenged him a little bit. So I'm seeing him, have a chance to help us.
True freshman receivers close to being ready to play, or what are your thoughts on Malachi Thompson?
Yeah, I think they're all going to be okay, but they're all right now from a strength standpoint, not quite there yet, but they're really hard workers. I'm trying to make sure I don't leave anyone out. The true freshman is Robert. Landon Drum, probably of all the true freshmen, maybe had a best chance to do, but he got banged up a little bit now. It's something knee thing that he'll be back hopefully in a couple weeks. So his progress was really good, but again he'll be down a couple weeks it looks like. Malachi is another guy I think is going to have a great future. Just those young guys are swimming. Even though they were here, some of them all summer, it's different when you practice. A certain intensity I think is different for them.
You've had a lot of different quarterbacks and a lot of guys that have done it different ways. What makes a quarterback successful in your scheme?
Well, like any good quarterback, I mean, they just execute the offense, and then whatever skill sets they're best at, the coaches and the player uses to their advantage. Whether they run, throw, great accuracy, whatever the case may be. The biggest thing is the execution of it. Throwing to the right guy, reading the right coverage, making the right read in the run game, controlling the whole. I don't like to use game manager. I understand that term, but it's not. You don't want somebody to manage a game. You want somebody that runs the plays that you want them to run well enough that you can call them so they can run it. So, I mean, we got a whole big menu of plays. Whatever plays they run the best, they got to be able to run that the best. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Rich, how do you decide that you're ready for first opponent stuff? Is it like a comfort level to you?
Ready for what?
For like you said, you're doing first opponent work tomorrow.
Yeah, a little bit.
But how do you decide like, okay, we're ready to take the next step, we're ready to prepare for the first opponent?
Well, it's not like it's earth-shattering stuff. It's going to be the same stuff we've been working on for a couple weeks and even during the summer. So, with just in mind, like, okay, they like to play this front or this coverage a lot, or on our defense is looking there. These are the formations that they're likely to see, and so, all the stuff that we've done some work on it that handles a little bit of everything, but kind of laser and starting to focus a little bit more on, some of the schemes that they do on all three phases will be something we'll start looking at a little bit more. Typically, it's 2 weeks out when we start having scout teams and it's full on 40 minutes of teamwork against what they do and all that stuff. This will be 15 minutes of, yeah, hey, a little bit of coastal look, and go from there.
Your analysts, how tricky is their offseason work now in the summer, trying to look ahead and get to know dozens of new players and
Analysts?
yeah, that's you. They do your scouting, right?
But I mean, you can go watch a player and try to watch his strengths and all that. The biggest job for analysts is study what you think that the other team will run, and sometimes you don't know, particularly the first couple games, exactly who the player is going to be. So you know, it helps to know a little bit, but I think that's overrated. Like, now that might be okay. This guy's a 4'2", 6'5" wideout. We better make sure that we got one or two guys over top of him, that kind of thing. But like, you're not going to look at, you know, a defensive tackle and defensive nose guard and say, well, you know, that guy is, you know, a weak spot, or that guy's a weak spot, you know, because you can move them and hide them and, you know, do different things. So the personnel that we go against always is going to be a little bit of a guesswork, but it's when, particularly the first couple games, you're looking at more schematic type of stuff that you're kind of preparing your guys for.
This year, similar to maybe not specifically this year, but like is 1 year still reasonably similar to the year before, and what you've known from a coach or a coordinator across a number of years?
From who we're playing, or yeah, man, how do they know who the hell we're playing? Like how many new starters we got? 18, 19, 20, maybe 21, maybe 22. We might have 22 new starters. We really will. We might have 22. No, excuse me. Let's count the punter and a kicker. We might have 24 for 24. I kid you not. It's not to say high possibility. It's a possibility. We might have less than that.
Speaking of that, Rich, how many, 2 weeks before the first game, how many jobs are still being fought for? And would you rather have guys have them set by 2 weeks or fight right down to the last game day?
Yeah, I think if the quality is there and there's a really good fight, you're comfortable. But if a guy is a solid guy starting because the guy behind him is not ready at all, then that makes me a little nervous. You know, I mean, I don't mind if that guy he's solid to starter, but the guy behind him is a really good player too. So that's kind of what we're kind of hoping for. And I don't like, you know, our guys though, we still are rolling ones and twos, and none of these guys have played a game. But you know, you get an idea now, and we'll get an idea at the end of this week, certainly after Saturday's scrimmage. Okay, these are the guys that we think we're ready to win with. And again, if we only have 22, 11 on both sides, we're going to be in trouble. I'm expecting 50 or 52, you know, and that's I know that's kind of a goal and a wish and a dream, but that's what we'll get to. And then the good part about it is if we recruit the right guys and they do what we hope they can do, and then they have a good year, we can retain them. So this time next year, when we have this thing, it would be like, yeah, we've got 6 or 7 new starters, but that's it. You know, everybody else is guys that have experience in the system.
You talked a little bit about those freshman receivers and said not a ton of them are ready, but there have been some indications from you and the coaching staff there are some other freshmen on the team that could be ready to make an immediate impact. Latimer, Kevin Brown, Vincent Smith, Matt Sig. Can you talk a little bit about the impact you think some of these freshmen will have?
Yeah, I mean,
just the process of throwing.
Yeah, I don't want to leave somebody out. I wouldn't say you didn't hear me say Vincent Smith, but Vincent's going to have a great career here. You know, Matt Sig is playing well. He's in the rotation. Amari Latimer, we thought he'd be able to play as a freshman. He'll play as a freshman. Kevin Brown, we thought would play as a freshman. He'll play as a freshman. Those young secondary guys are all going to be really good players. Some of them may play this year. I don't know. That's all the secondary positions are kind of up for grabs. So it's not just Vincent. There's a couple other young guys, freshmen too. I'm just looking over here who we got. The hardest position to play as a freshman is quarterback and O-line. And Jaron Hewley is a true freshman who's gotten better every day. And I think he's going to have a great future here. You mentioned Kevin Brown. There's another freshman, LaMarcus Dillard, on the O-line. He's going to play as a freshman. LaMarcus will. Aiden Woods is another freshman on the offensive line. I think he'll play some as a freshman as well. So Cade Bush at tight end. Cade has really had a good last week or so, and with the injuries of some of the other tight ends, with Ryan and Cam and Carter being out, Cade's got a lot of reps, and so I think he'll play as a freshman too. So I'm sure I'm leaving off somebody, but that's all right.
What's the process like of tossing those guys kind of into the fire as freshmen, as a coach, and just like
Well,
writing
it's
that process out?
we're not tossing anybody anywhere. It's not like we're burning couches and tossing them into a burning couch. We're like, we practice these guys. It ain't like all of a sudden we're going to go up as a coastal and we're going to bring this freshman out here who has not practiced, not had any meetings in 3 weeks, and throw him out there and expect him to do good. Nobody got tossed anywhere. They're practicing and working hard, and so I think the only difference is the everything's faster than what they're accustomed to, which it should be, right? I mean, this is big boy football, so typically the freshmen, things don't slow down for them until they've had so many reps. But these guys are getting a lot of reps, and the good ones adapt quicker to the speed of the game.
Is he got like normal workload, or you kind of giving him some time on the side so he
He ain't
can
practicing a week. No, let's start some Cam Cook rumors. Let's say we're gonna start here. Then we get no.
He seems to like to practice. Maybe he wants to go, but you said a lot of your young running backs who want to get reps, and maybe you don't need to practice Cam Cook a lot. I don't know.
No, everybody needs to practice.
Okay.
He got a few live reps Saturday, and Cam's a good football player, but he didn't run the same system at Jack State last year. Now some of the similar plays they did, but it was all still new terminology for him. But he's he's got a sharp football mind. He's been he's been around a little bit, so he catches on really quickly, learns really quickly, and just got a really neat skill set. So he's going to get reps every day. So it's not like, Cam's going to sit out today. He's getting reps, but live reps. He'll get a few more live reps this week. Get a few more live reps Saturday. But outside of that, mentally he'll be ready to go.
As game week approaches, do you notice the attitude in the building changing? And as you actually get there,
I think it's
you really-
weird, Bob,
you really
because
know they're ready?
It's weird because typically, and maybe you guys could correct me, typically it's like camp is over and then it's about 2 weeks till you play. And then this year camp was over and it was 3 weeks till we play. So it's, because the calendar, it doesn't feel like we're still in that game mode yet. We're still in camp mode, but we're not in camp mode because, kids are going to school and all that. So, I mean, I think it's been easy. To me, I don't want to be soft. So we try to make it hard, but we have had no heat, no humidity. It's been 75 degrees, which has been beautiful we haven't had IVs and stuff, but I wish I hope in the next week we get a practice that it's 95 and humid, and something happens in Morgantown, West Virginia, and the humidity says, I'm coming from the south, and I'm landing in Morgantown, and you better get your IVs ready and your Gatorade and all that because we're coming after you. I missed one day of that, at least one day, where they can't wait to jump in the cold tub afterwards. We ain't had none of it. It's been like a vacation, so I've been good. All right.